U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has reiterated that it is good to de-risk with China, but decoupling is absolutely not an option. The U.S. Department of Commerce plans to allow companies from South Korea and Taiwan to continue to maintain or expand their chip manufacturing in mainland China. Does this mean that the U.S. will relax its restrictions on chips from China? Let's first look at Yellen's statement. She is a relatively moderate cabinet member in the Biden administration, not particularly friendly to China but also not too aggressive. However, she has repeated many times the statement that it is good to de-risk with China, but decoupling is absolutely not an option. At the same time, we have not seen any specific actions from the U.S. in economic and trade areas to ease U.S.-China relations. On the contrary, we have seen the U.S. government continuously set up obstacles, having just added 31 Chinese entities to the export control list. In fact, the so-called de-risk for the U.S. is just another way of saying decoupling with a slightly softer tone, but the substance has not changed, and it is still gathering allies to deal with China. Now let's look at the chip exemption granted by the U.S. Department of Commerce. Although the U.S. allows chip manufacturers from South Korea and Taiwan to maintain or expand their businesses in mainland China, the chips they produce are mostly mid to low-end, not high-end chips restricted by the U.S. CHIPS Act. Moreover, the U.S. exemption period is only extended for another year, and the U.S. restrictions on South Korean and Taiwanese companies have not been lifted. In other words, don't expect the U.S. government to relax its ban on Chinese chips. However, this does not mean that chip manufacturers will not resist and will completely obey the U.S. When their own interests are damaged by the U.S. ban, they will fight against the U.S., either by extending the exemption period and continuing to supply the Chinese market or by breaking through the U.S. ban, ignoring U.S. restrictions, and developing their business in China. The latest reports show that while the U.S. continues to suppress China's high-tech development and establish a chip alliance to ban or restrict sales to China, two important U.S. allies, Italy and France, have chosen to invest heavily and cooperate with China to establish chip factories. It is said that the factory in Chongqing is larger than Musk's investment in the Shanghai superfactory, with a total investment of $3.2 billion. It can be said that it is unrealistic for the U.S. to try to block China's technological progress in the semiconductor field because the power of capital will break through U.S. restrictions and make money in the huge Chinese market. As long as the Chinese market remains open and operates under the rule of law, there is no need to worry about not obtaining high-end chips or advanced technology.